Your brain and AI have the same weakness. Both of you pattern match. Both of you default to the highest probability move from what you already have seen. But in the next 5 years, whichever one of you can break that pattern faster wins the market. And right now, AI is catching up to you. A peer-reviewed study from the University of Liège just mapped the specific brain region that decides this race, and most founders are losing it. This is the most important video I've recorded this year, so stay with me. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. For the last decade, your mode as a founder was 3 things stacked on top of each other. 1 was knowing what to do, having the right frameworks, tactics, and playbooks. 2 is executing information work faster than your competitors. Research, copy, analysis, code, outreach, whatever. And 3 is just having access to knowledge most people didn't. And AI just took all 3. Every founder in your market now has access to the same playbooks, the same research, the same AI-wrapped thinking. Information advantage is literally gone. And if your business is depending on any of those modes, you're not competing against other founders anymore. You're competing against the floor, and the floor keeps rising. Most founders I talk to and coach feel this. They just can't name it. They feel something's off. They're working harder than ever, producing more content, but getting less traction. This is inevitable. But there's a way out, because there's something actually defensible in the AI era. See, AI is extraordinary at one thing: pattern matching inside its training distribution. It predicts the next most likely token based on everything it's already seen. That's why it's so good at code, copy, research, analysis, summaries, anything with a recognizable pattern. But AI is structurally locked in. See, it cannot operate outside of its training data. It cannot generate a genuinely new strategic frame under novel conditions with incomplete information. It doesn't initiate, and it doesn't switch frames mid-problem when something in the environment shifts. With founders, we do that all the time. That's literally what we're paid to do. We're paid to deal with ambiguity and uncertainty and profit from it. But the problem is that most founders' brains are locked too in their own mental patterns. They see the same kinds of opportunities they've always seen, and they apply the same frames to new problems. They dabble down in strategies, they know how they work, but they stopped working 2 years ago for a market that no longer exists. That's the threat. It's not that AI is getting smarter. It's that AI stays pattern locked, and so do you. Because you have true pattern matchers competing, and AI will win that race every single time. So what's the way out? Mastering the skill that is the exact opposite of pattern matching. And psychologists call this cognitive flexibility. The trained capacity to rapidly switch frames, update your priors when new information arrives, and generate just novel strategies in ambiguous conditions. And it's been studied for 40 years. Low scores in cognitive flexibility predict depression, burnout, and business failure. And high scores predict reinvention, resilience, and ability to pivot. And it's not intelligence. It's not about how smart you are. And it's not about hustle. It's a specific measurable neurological capacity anyone can train, and is the last defensible mode in the AI era. Last year, a research team by Frédéric Homs in the University of Liège ran a 2-stage study. First, they measured cognitive flexibility in 700 people, about 400 entrepreneurs and 300 managers. And they then selected a subset and performed structural MRIs in their brains. And what they found is extraordinary. Serial entrepreneurs, founders who've launched 3 or more ventures, show significantly higher cognitive flexibility than managers. And they had measurably more gray matter in a specific region of the brain called the left insula. That region is typically associated with divergent thinking, interoception, and rapid context switching. This is not entrepreneurs are born different pseudoscience. This is measurable structural difference in the brains of people who repeatedly build companies. And that's what makes the most important finding for you. The brain is not fixed. There's this thing called neuroplasticity, a biological process by which the brain reorganizes itself in response to the repeated experience. That makes it change. And what this study shows is that the specific neural architecture of high-performing founders results from training, not genetic gift, not personality type. That means cognitive flexibility is trainable systematically with the right protocol. And here's how you know if you have this problem, if you have cognitive rigidity. Watch yourself for the next 48 hours. You know what you should be doing. You know the playbook, the strategy. You've been doing it for a long time. But see if when you sit down to execute, something else happens. If you default to the easy work, if you rewrite an email that you know is already well written, if you reopen the spreadsheet you already understand, if you default to what's familiar, not what is strategic, that's the pattern we need to rewire. Because your brain, under load, defaults to the highest probability action that has already been done before. Exactly like AI. And the gap between what you know and what you have to be doing is called the capacity gap. And the debt that accumulates over months and years of not doing what you should be doing, it's called the execution debt. And let me give you a real example, right? A founder I work with was in the 7-figure range. He had revenue roughly flat for 18 months. The team was stretched thin, burnout was climbing, and he had tried everything under the sun. Bought courses, hired mentors, changed strategy, and he came to me absolutely convinced that he had a capacity problem in his business. He wasn't able to scale because he didn't have enough people. He needed cleaner SOPs, more managers, whatever. And that frame had worked perfectly to that point. So his brain just thought, I just need to run it again. The problem though was different. The problem, after careful analysis, that the bottom third of his client roster was below his margin and the top third was underpriced. And he physically couldn't delegate because every decision had to be routed through him, no matter how many people he hired. So adding more bodies would only make this harder. So the move was not to do more. The move was not to run the same playbook that has always worked. No, it was to cut the bottom clients, raise the top prices, and stop doing everything himself. And revenue stayed flat for 1 quarter, but margin doubled, burnout subsided, and then he was able to scale by adding more people in the right places. And the new strategy wasn't some ninja thing that I told him. No, he could see it, but he didn't do it because his brain, under stress and burnout, kept handling the wheel back to the frame that had worked before. That's the gap. That's the execution debt that no one else has told you about. But it's the thing that is going to prevent you from getting to the next level in your business. It's not that you don't know what to do, it's that your brain defaults to the easy work that prevents it from happening. That's the point. And cognitive flexibility is about letting go of a frame that does not work for you anymore and committing to a new one before the old one fully breaks. That's the move AI can make. And that's the move that is going to give you an edge no one else has. And for the past 6 years, I've been working for 410 founders now with this problem. And we have built a methodology that literally look at those patterns, rewires the thing that need to be rewired for the client to go to the next level. And what we do is we literally map out that gap and we bridge it. And how do we measure it? By how many new things are you executing on? And we call the methodology neuroexecution. And the transformation really is binary. For all 400 founders, we get them in a locked-in state of low execution, trapped in patterns they accumulated, constantly working on a lot of things that really don't move the needle, but not really breaking through because the environment or something has changed. And what we do is we literally map out the gap, we train that gap, and we keep them accountable until something happens in their business. And I've lost count of how many have double, triple, and in some cases 5 times, even 5x the revenue in a few short months because they train their brain to execute consistently on things that matter then. That's how we weaponize cognitive flexibility. And that's the thing. You are not stuck because you don't work hard enough. You are stuck because you're not doing what needs to be done because the brain is defaulting to what's familiar. So if you're still operating under the assumption that hard work or talent or genius or luck is what's going to make you successful, you're wrong. It's a better trained brain. And if you feel right now that this is you, you're stuck no matter how hard you work, I have a 3-minute capacity score that you can access through the link below that is going to tell you the exact patterns that are keeping you stuck so you can start rewiring them. That's the only thing that is going to guarantee that you break through your current plateau. See you in the next video.